Hello everyone, I've got another discussion video for you, and this time we are going to be discussing two games and which I think is more fun. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the similarities between the two games and what I think is fun about the both of them, and then I'm going to discuss individually. So I'll talk about Far Cry Primal, what I think is fun about that game, and then I'll talk about Far Cry 5 and what I think is fun about that game. And then after I'm done with those three items, then I'll go back and I will discuss which game I think is more fun. I'll tell you the answer to which I think is more fun. Now this is just my opinion. I'm going to be giving you my opinion on this topic, so please share your opinions on this topic in the comment section, and we can all get into a big discussion and, you know, see where we can go from there. Like I said, it's all opinion here. Nothing's right or wrong, and I will probably miss some things that you may think is fun about a game. So yeah, make sure to post those in the comment section as well, and just let everyone know what you think. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here. Okay, real quick before we hop in, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more if you want to see more videos like this, because I will be doing lots more discussion videos. And then also leave a like if you're excited for what you're about to hear/see. Okay, so starting off with the similarities. So the first thing I want to talk about is the choice between stealth and open aggression in the games. So basically, whenever you start a mission, you normally have the option to play as completely stealth, or you can just go and, you know, guns blazing and take out everyone right away, start firing off your gun, and they'll all start attacking you. But yeah, that ability to have the choice, that's something I find to be just so fun, because you can just go in and you can pick the enemy off one by one, or do chain takedowns, whatever your choice. But yeah, you can take them down just real quiet, and then you can pick up the bodies and you can hide them somewhere, and it just makes you feel so I don't know, you just have like a lot of control. Kind of feels like a movie almost, because you're doing these takedowns. You feel really tough and awesome and cool. I don't know, it just gives you this exhilarating feeling when you can do stealth takedowns. Or if you're just feeling, you know, like, oh, I've got all these great weapons, I don't feel like I need to do stealth because stealth will take a little bit longer. I'm just going to go in there, guns blazing, and what the heck, you've got the choice. So I really like that. Next thing I want to talk about is hunting. In both of these games, you can hunt animals, and that makes, you know, that adds a whole nother depth to the game. Okay, so instead of you know, doing these missions, I mean, some missions do include the hunting aspect of the games, but yeah, you can just straight up go out into the wilderness and you can start hunting these animals. So like there's bears, deer, antelope, whatever it may be, because there's a couple different creatures in both games, but both games do really have a lot of beasts out there that you can go and take down. Okay, there's a huge open world to be conquered in both games. That's another thing that I find very fun about both Far Cry Primal and Far Cry 5. Once you start off with the campaign, it's just boom. You've got all of this stuff that needs to be conquered, all of these territories that belong to the enemy, and it's just, there's so much content that's kind of like slapped right in front of your face, and I love that. It's just, oh, so you're telling me I can go do these missions, or I can just go mess around in the open world and do whatever I want. And then if I take over parts of this open world, then oh, that's great. Then I can have control of these areas. And yeah, it's just all of that content that's just slapped in front of your face right from the beginning. That to me is so fun, and I love that about both of these games. And then just adding on to that, once you get this open world, I love the fact that there's main campaign missions that you can do, there's side missions that you can do, there's outposts that you can take over, and then there's so many other random objectives to be completed throughout all of both of these maps that are presented to you in Far Cry 5 and Far Cry Primal. It just makes it so much fun. then adding on to this is kind of a smaller thing, but it's something I really like about both of these games is the ability to throw objects for distraction. So if you are doing stealth like I was talking about earlier, you can throw a rock, or in Far Cry 5 I think you can even throw like a can or something. But yeah, throw a tiny object, or in Far Cry Primal I think it's a slingshot. You can slingshot a rock, but yeah, you can just throw a tiny object, and then you can distract these people. You can make them look another way if you're rushing someone, or if you're just in complete stealth and you want to pull someone away from their position that they're holding. You can throw a rock, and then they'll climb down their ladder and go inspect, or they will move away from their normal pathing, and you can pull them away from the base that they're defending, and then once they're away you can pick them off and then take their body, hide it somewhere else. I just really love that ability to be able to bait the enemy, and then you can slowly, with that baiting ability, take down the whole entire outpost and complete stuff. I really love that. And then add on to that the takedowns, not only the being able to slingshot or throw a rock and distract someone, but being able to just silently take down the variety of different takedowns they have, whether it be falling off an object and then falling on top of someone, taking them down, being behind cover and taking someone down, just the normal takedown where you snap their neck, or a takedown where you come up to them a little bit faster and you kick them in the knee so that they lose their balance, and then you do something where you punch them in the face or something and take them out. I don't know. Whatever you may be using, or some other type of weapon you're using, you can do some type of melee takedown. There's a wide variety, and I really like that. It's a pretty cool thing. Kind of reminds me of Assassin's Creed, but I suppose that makes sense since Ubisoft did make those games. I also really like the ability to gather resources across the map. So yeah, lots of resource gathering, and adding on to that, because there's all this resource gathering, like you can gather different types of, for example, in Far Cry Primal, there's you can gather bark or wood from small trees, rocks. That's just mainly in Far Cry Primal, but both of these games have resource gathering for types of plants, different types of resources you can grab from that, and then you can, adding on to that, you can start crafting items. So whatever you have gathered, you can craft different types of ammo for weapons, or you can just craft weapons themselves. And then there's also the ability to craft potions that can improve your ability to attack the enemy, or improve your ability to just simply move or find animals across the map, and increase the amount of damage you can take, or it'll increase your ability to actually spot enemies or spot animals. And I really like that crafting ability. Just one thing, or another thing that adds to the depth of these games, being able to craft stuff. And then one final thing I want to discuss that's similar between these two games that I find to be very fun is the unlockable skills. So over time, as you do things, there's the ability to unlock different types of skills, and you have the choice. It's not just you do something and over time you get experience for it, you unlock it. You actually can choose, okay, do I want to unlock this skill first, and then, okay, say I got this skill, then I can kind of go down a skill tree and unlock skills that come after this skill. And yeah, just that ability to choose what you want to go for, and then when you're actually using those skills later on, seeing how much you've improved from that point. Okay, so now let's get into discussion of Far Cry Primal. So Far Cry Primal, what I find very fun specifically about this game is the beast taming and the beast riding aspect of the game. So in Far Cry 5, yes, you can have some sidekicks, but in Far Cry Primal, it's so much different, because you can basically tame almost anything that you come across in Far Cry Primal. Any type of beast you find, you can tame it. So the only things that you can't really tame are some deer or other kind of herbivore type of creatures, but any carnivore you find, and even some of the herbivore creatures, though they can all be tamed, they can be your little sidekick that helps you, stealth take down a base, or just go in complete aggression mode and take down a base. And I really love that. And they have special perks in the game. Like, they can help you find resources on the map that you might be needing, and they will help defend you against random enemies that might come and attack you, or random animals that might come and try to eat you. So that's a really cool aspect of the game. And then you can collect them too. So after you get them, you have all these beasts in your little beast tab, and you can select, okay, which one do I want? And they have different strengths as well. Some are better at finding items, some are better at taking damage, or not finding items. Oh yeah, some are better at finding items. Some are better at stealth, some are better at taking damage, and some are better at doing damage, so on and so forth. And then I also really like the variety of primitive weapons that are in Far Cry Primal. So in Far Cry, you don't have any of this new technology, of course, because it's like 10,000 BCE, I think it was, and it's just, it's all stone, it's all wood. That's pretty much the extent to the technology that you have. So you're going to be seeing lots of spears, lots of bow and arrows, and yes, Far Cry 5 does have bows, but it's different types of bows in Far Cry Primal. It's, like I said, it's just a bow and a sling, and that's it. And then your arrows are just complete wood. You don't have any special type of scopes or anything. And then your spear, it's a stick and it's a stone on the end, a spearhead on the end, and or flint, I guess. And then you have big maces or clubs that you can use. And yeah, that's the extent of the weapons, or stone throwing knives that you have. But it's so cool because it adds more. It's like you're using more of your body, more of your own strength. I mean, you yourself aren't, but the game's character is using his strength to use these primitive weapons. Whereas, like Far Cry 5, you're experiencing a little bit more of, weapons. You just pull a trigger and then the enemy falls. And that's the difference, and that's why I like the primitive weapons in Far Cry Primal a little bit more. Very, very cool. And then to add to this, because you're using primitive weapons, I found it really fun the impact the beasts had in the game of Far Cry Primal. So I don't know if any of you have noticed, but when you're going around Far Cry 5, you've got these guns, and, well, I mean, it makes sense. A gun is going to kill an animal pretty darn quick because it does so much damage. And yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's like what you would probably find in real life. If you throw a spear at something, it may not die, or just like a regular arrow. If you shoot an arrow at something, it's probably not going to die as fast as shooting a sniper rifle at the animal. There's a big difference in damage there. So yeah, that makes sense. But it's just the impact those animals had on Far Cry Primal. It's crazy. I remember going in when I first started Far Cry Primal and seeing my first bear. And holy cow, it was crazy. I mean, wolves, they were one thing. They were hard because they were pack animals. But I saw my first bear, and I just thought it was so cool. I saw my first bear, and I'm like, whoa, that's kind of scary, because I don't really have any means to take this guy down. And the bear came for me, and yeah, it took me the heck out. It destroyed me right away. I didn't have any type of armor against the thing, and I could barely do any type of damage to it. And then, slowly get a little bit stronger and try again, and then it killed me again. And then I slowly got a little bit stronger, and then over time you build strength, and then you can start taking all these animals out. And then towards the end of the game, of course, I 100%ed all of Far Cry Primal. Once you get to the end, everything's just completely easy. It's like you're playing Far Cry 5 again. Nothing that attacks you can take you down, essentially, once you get to the 100% mark. But it's the beginning. It adds a really good aspect because it's a challenge to take down these beasts. Whereas in Far Cry 5, I mean, the real enemy are the humans. And that makes sense because, I mean, with the technology these days, and because this is a modern game, it's gonna make sense that weapons are it's gonna change the impact animals and beasts have against you. But moving a little bit further on from that point for Far Cry Primal is the impact the beast had is mammoths. Mammoths alone created such a cool aspect of Far Cry Primal that I absolutely loved playing around with the mammoths. I loved being able to ride the mammoths because yes, you could ride them. You could not tame them, but you could ride mammoths. And it was fun to just spend like, 10 to 15 minutes just straight up, if you throw a rock at a mammoth, it'll start chasing you down. It was fun to simply, try to run away and see how long you could survive in a big herd of mammoths if you made all of them mad at you. Or to be able to ride a mammoth and run straight into the enemy and see how far they go flying. I absolutely loved mammoths. They were great. That alone, like I was saying, that alone made the game. It's so fun. I love that. And then one last thing I wanted to say about Far Cry Primal that I liked is the controllable owl. You could, blow, or you could whistle, and then after your little, it wasn't really a whistle, it was like an eagle call. After your little eagle call, then you could be flying your eagle in its vision, and then you could detect the enemy wherever they may be, or you could drop bombs on the enemy. Well, not actual bombs, but like fire, primitive bombs, I guess. So yeah, fire bombs, bombs that drove the enemy crazy so they attacked each other, bombs that contained bees inside, and then you could also just straight up dive bomb an enemy and attack them. And I really like that. Okay, moving on to Far Cry 5. So, in Far Cry 5, I really enjoyed the ability to fly helicopters and planes, and also being able to drive cars. And, of course, that makes sense. Like, okay, cool. You're in modern day, of course you're going to have those items. But, I mean, not every game will have that ability to, in a big free roam area, to be able to fly a helicopter or fly a plane. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, yeah, that has that, but it's just really fun because the game itself, it probably doesn't need those items. You could probably get around without having the ability to fly a helicopter, for example. But they do have that in there. It would probably take longer if they didn't have the ability to fly a helicopter, but you can fast teleport around the map. So yeah, being able to fly those helicopters, and then not only that, but being able to go anywhere on the map or see anything you want to see from different elevations because of those helicopters or those planes. I really like that. And then my favorite part is when you get one of those planes or helicopters and they have guns on them. Oh, that is so cool, because then you can start taking down bases with these big, huge guns that you have, and they do so much damage. And it's fun just to practice with flying those special vehicles. And then, add on to that, you have boats as well, and boats are really fun to drive. And then you even have seaplanes that you can start flying or landing on the lakes, and that's another really cool thing as well. I also really like the wide selection of different types of cars, helicopters, planes, boats that you can purchase from the stores, or you can collect over time by completing certain missions. And then also the huge variety of weapons there are in this game. You go to a dealer and you just can find so many different types of weapons. And Far Cry Primal, yeah, they had their selection of weapons, but no, not quite like this. This is something else I really like. And once you get those weapons, then you can not only find this wide variety, but you can also customize those weapons for different types of looks, so they have different types of skins, and then also customize how effective these weapons are, because you can get different types of scopes, you can add a silencer to them, and all of this stuff will affect the range of the weapon, the handling of the weapon. You can get an extended mag, and so on and so forth. So I really like that. Then I also like being able to customize the look of yourself. So I don't know if you could do this in Far Cry 4. I've only played Far Cry Primal and Far Cry 5, but I do know all the Far Cry games have lots of similarities between them. But either way, the ability to, customize your own look, that's very fun. Very, very fun. And being able to, I want to wear this hat, or I want to wear this hat. Or there's 20 different options for hats, or there's 20 different options for shirts or pants, or I don't even know, maybe you can customize your shoes. I can't remember that for sure. But yeah, and then you can also customize your facial features. And then there's different outfits altogether. Maybe you don't want to wear just a shirt or just a pant type in a combo. You just want to have just one outfit, and that'll be your outfit, and that's all taken care of. So that's something else that's really cool, and adds a little bit more depth to the game. It's just like all these things come together and they add depth, and that makes the games really fun. And then aside from this stuff, I like the arcade mode that they added. Once again, I don't know if they had this in Far Cry 4, but this arcade mode is great. It's the creators of the game, the developers, they added this arcade mode where it's these custom maps where you can run through these custom maps that they made, and there's special little objectives that you can play, and I think it's kind of like a challenge mode almost, and you can constantly try to get better at these arcade modes. And I don't know if there's like a little leaderboard where you can compete with other players on these custom maps that they make, but that's really fun. And then you can review the map later on, and other people will review it. And then you can also customize your own little arcade map, so it just kind of adds this almost infinite aspect to it, where you can just create any type of map you want, and then there will always be something new in the game because of that. And then adding on to this arcade, there's also multiplayer mode where they created these custom maps where you can compete with other players. There's nothing ranked so far, but I actually found the multiplayer to be pretty fluid. It wasn't glitchy or anything, and there was lots of different variety of different weapons and different skills you can use to take people out. I found it to be very fun. And then one more thing I wanted to add, there's also this co-op mode, but I haven't really done co-op mode quite yet. But basically you can start your server up, your solo play for campaign, and then you can bring people into your campaign, and then they can play through the campaign missions with you, or the open world, and you can just completely mess around with them. Like I said, I haven't done that yet, but I mean, I can just assume what it's going to be like because I've played co-op on other games, and basically you're just going to be able to take down stuff with a friend instead of an AI, because right now you can have, I think, like 1 or 2 people follow you around, or maybe like a follower and a pet. Either way, so yeah, you can have your follower and a pet as an AI, or you can have an actual player be your follower. And I think you can even have something like 2 or 3 teammates at a time. So yeah, that's pretty fun, I would say. And I'm really looking forward to hopping into something like that. Okay, one last thing I wanted to say about Far Cry 5. I absolutely love being able to skydive and parachute. Right when you start the game, you don't have that ability. You fall, you're dead. So yeah, you fall even from like a height of 15 feet, or depending on how you fall, you can die pretty easily from fall damage in this game. But as soon as you get the perk ability to parachute, all of a sudden you can parachute whenever you want. That's super cool. And then adding on to that, you can skydive, so you can have a ton of control over your where you're going to fall. And then you can do cool things like base jumping, which is so fun as well. I really love that aspect about the game. Okay, so with all of that in mind, everything that I just said, I am going to have to choose Far Cry 5 to be the more fun of the 2 games. Now, I'm just the main reason I'm choosing Far Cry 5 to be the most fun, in my opinion, is because there's more depth to the game. That's basically what's winning it over for me. I really love Far Cry Primal. It doesn't take anything away from the game. It's just that Far Cry 5 to me has a little bit more to offer. It's just the little things, you know, the customization of your character, what your character looks like, or being able to skydive. Like, I know Far Cry Primal, it's primitive, and you're not going to have flying in that game. But yeah, the skydive ability, oh, it's just so cool. So yeah, look, the little things, they all add up, and they add more, and there's just, in general, more content in Far Cry 5. So that is why I am choosing that game as more fun. Once again, please let me know which game you think is more fun, and then also post that in the comments section. Let everyone else know. Get into some discussions. I really like that. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more discussion videos like this. I will be doing more. And then also leave a like if you like what you saw. Check out the video I'm going to link in the top right corner of the screen. And join the Discord chat. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I had a ton of fun making this video and talking about my opinion of these two games. I'll see you all in the next one.